And in all that time, one thing has never changed. The patients who age with the healthiest hearts are almost always the ones who pay attention to what they eat. Not just big decisions, small ones, daily ones. On a small shelf, in a tiny pot by the window, or drying on a string in the sunlight. Today, I want to talk to you about 5 Mediterranean herbs. And I want to show you what modern science says about these plants. Because what the research reveals is far more remarkable than most people expect. I have been practicing cardiology for over 20 years. Every morning, millions of people take pills for their heart, blood pressure medication, cholesterol medication, blood thinners, and most of them don't know this. Some of the most powerful heart protectors in the world are already sitting in their kitchen. Today, I will walk you through 5 specific herbs, what they do inside your body, why your aging cardiovascular system needs them, and exactly how to use them every single day. No supplements, no complicated protocols, just plants, just food, just science. Let's begin. The first herb is one you probably already know. Rosemary, that strong pine-like smell, those thin needle-shaped leaves. It grows on rocky hillsides across the Mediterranean coast. And for centuries, people there have lived longer, healthier lives. Rosemary contains a compound called rosmarinic acid. This compound is a powerful anti-inflammatory agent. Chronic inflammation is one of the leading causes of arterial damage. Your arteries are not just pipes. They are living tissue. They get irritated, they get inflamed, and when they do, they become stiff. Blood pressure rises, the heart works harder. Rosmarinic acid interrupts this process at the cellular level. It signals the immune system to calm down. It protects the inner lining of your blood vessels. It helps your arteries stay flexible. And flexible arteries mean a heart that doesn't have to fight so hard. Think about the island of Sardinia in Italy. It is one of the 5 blue zones in the world, places where people routinely live past 100 years old. Researchers spent years studying these communities. Rosemary grows wild there. It is used in nearly every meal, not as medicine, just as food, just as flavor. And yet, the cardiovascular health of these communities is extraordinary. Coincidence? The science says no. Add 1 fresh sprig of rosemary to olive oil. Let it sit for 20 minutes. Use that oil on vegetables, bread, or fish. The second herb is thyme. Small leaves, tiny flowers, and enormous impact. Thyme has been used medicinally for over 2,000 years. The ancient Egyptians used it. The ancient Greeks used it. Thyme contains a compound called thymol. Thymol is one of the most studied natural compounds in cardiovascular research. It relaxes the smooth muscle tissue inside your blood vessel walls. When blood vessel walls relax, blood flows more freely. When blood flows more freely, blood pressure decreases. And for people over 60, this matters enormously. Because after 60, the elasticity of blood vessels naturally begins to decline. The walls get stiffer, the pressure rises. Thymol directly counters this process. It is not a cure, but as a daily protective habit, it is remarkably powerful. I had a patient, 72 years old, retired engineer. He came to me with borderline high blood pressure. I suggested a few dietary changes. One of them was adding thyme to his meals every day. 6 months later, his numbers had improved noticeably. He looked at me and said, "I thought you were going to give me a pill." Sometimes the kitchen is the best pharmacy. Sprinkle dried thyme on eggs in the morning. Add fresh thyme to soups, stews, or roasted vegetables. Or make a simple thyme tea, 1 teaspoon of dried thyme in hot water for 10 minutes. Drink it once a day. The third herb is sage. Broad silver green leaves, a slightly earthy, warm aroma. In Mediterranean cuisine, sage is everywhere. As we age, our cells are constantly under attack from something called oxidative stress. Think of it like rust. Just as metal rusts when exposed to oxygen over time, our cells, our blood vessels, our heart tissue experience similar damage. Sage is extraordinarily rich in antioxidants, specifically a compound called carnosol. Carnosol neutralizes the free radicals that cause this cellular rust. It protects the mitochondria, the energy engines of your heart cells. It has been shown in multiple studies to support healthy cholesterol balance, protecting LDL cholesterol from oxidizing, because oxidized LDL is the truly dangerous form, the form that sticks to artery walls and builds up into plaques. In the south of France, in the region of Provence, sage grows on every hillside. The local people have used it for generations. Researchers studying longevity in this region noted something remarkable. Risks of cardiovascular disease are unusually low. This is sometimes called the French paradox. But perhaps it is not a paradox at all. Perhaps it is simply the herbs. Brown 4 or 5 fresh sage leaves in olive oil. Pour over pasta, risotto, or grilled chicken. Before I continue, I want to share something that surprised even me. A major study published in the European Journal of Nutrition found this had measurably lower levels of CRP in their blood. CRP is C-reactive protein. It is the primary marker doctors use to measure inflammation in the body. Lower CRP means less inflammation. Less inflammation means a healthier, younger cardiovascular system. The difference was not small, it was significant, and it showed up in people who simply cooked with these herbs every day. This is not alternative medicine. This is evidence-based nutrition science, and it is available to every single one of you starting tonight. The fourth herb is oregano. You know it from pizza, from pasta sauce, from Greek salads. Oregano is far more than a flavor. Gram for gram, oregano has one of the highest antioxidant capacities of any food on earth, higher than blueberries, higher than dark chocolate. The key compound known is called carvacrol. Carvacrol has been studied extensively for its effects on vascular inflammation. It directly inhibits a pathway in the body called NF-κB. This pathway is essentially the master switch of inflammation. When NF-κB is overactivated, the immune system attacks the body's own tissues, including the tissues of the heart and blood vessels. Carvacrol turns that switch down. It reduces inflammatory molecules. It protects the endothelium, the delicate inner lining of your arteries. The people of Crete have some of the lowest rates of heart disease ever recorded anywhere in the world. Oregano is present in virtually every meal. Fresh oregano, dried oregano, or oil on salads every single day. Add dried oregano generously to salad dressings. Use fresh oregano on tomatoes with olive oil and sea salt. The fifth herb may surprise you, lavender. Most people think of lavender as something for sleep, for relaxation. But there is a direct and important connection between lavender and cardiovascular health, and it runs through the nervous system. Chronic stress is one of the most damaging forces a heart can face. Continuous waves of cortisol and adrenaline raise blood pressure. They promote inflammation. They cause blood to clot more easily. They accelerate the aging of arterial walls. Lavender contains a compound called linalool. Linalool has been shown in clinical research to reduce cortisol levels. It calms the autonomic nervous system. It lowers heart rate and blood pressure in stressed individuals. A 68-year-old woman came to see me. Hired, blood pressure elevated, sleeping poorly, anxious most of the time. I suggested she start cooking with lavender, adding it to teas, to honey, to simple desserts. 4 months later, her resting heart rate had dropped, her blood pressure was more consistent, she was sleeping better. She said, I don't know if it's the lavender or just paying more attention to myself. I said it's both, and both matter. Add a small amount of dried culinary lavender to honey, use it in herbal teas, sprinkle it lightly on roasted vegetables. We covered 5 herbs today: rosemary, thyme, sage, oregano, lavender. 5 plants that have been growing in the Mediterranean sun for thousands of years. High plant science confirms are genuinely good for your heart. The heart is not just a pump, it is a living organ. It responds to everything you do, every meal, every walk, every night of good sleep. Adding these 5 herbs to your daily cooking, that is one of the simplest, most enjoyable, most science-backed choices you can make. You don't need a prescription for rosemary. You don't need insurance approval for thyme. You just need a kitchen. Which of these 5 herbs do you already use? And which one are you going to try this week? If this video was useful, please share it with a friend, a family member, anyone over 60 who cares about their heart. Subscribe to this channel for more evidence-based health information every week. Take care of your heart. Stay well. See you next time.